I'm here with Myles. Myles is a friend that I have just met in Puerto Vallarta. And when you tell me that you have all these books that help you being clean of alcohol, look how many books, how many Bibles he has. And I start talking to him about the 12 steps. I said to him, please give me an interview because I want to learn about the 12 steps. I just know the first one, and I think, let me know if I'm correct. The first one says something like this: I recognize that I cannot do it alone, and there is a higher being that can help me. Something like that. Is correct?
Yeah, it's I admitted to myself that I was an alcoholic and I couldn't manage my life.
Okay.
So it's admitting defeat, right? It's admitting defeat. Because for many years I was out there, I was saying to myself, you know, I'm not an alcoholic. I just have to choose not to drink. I can fix everything. And I kept drinking and I kept adding to my unmanageable life, right? I kept throwing devastation into my family and I kept trying to fix it. And I was running against the grain. I couldn't fix the things.
It's like instead of doing your will, doing the will of God, is something like that.
Well, it's leading you to the next steps.
Okay.
Step one leads you to step two, which is we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, meaning right thinking or truth, right? Because I'm making decisions like saying that I can fix that, and I'm making decisions based on a lie. It's insane thinking, because even though I'm trying to quit and it sounds easy for a normal person to quit, for someone who's allergic to alcohol, it's impossible.
Got it.
Right? Because you keep doing it over and over again, expecting different results, right? You know, like, you know, you just 25 years I was going to quit on my own, but I kept.
So the first step is that I admit that I am alcoholic. The second step is that there is a higher being that can help me, something like that.
I come to believe. Doesn't mean I believe, because a lot of people that are alcoholic don't believe in nothing, right? Except themselves, self-reliance instead of, you know, and for me, my higher power at first was the people in AA, because I finally came to my knees and said, show me what I need to do, because I couldn't see how these 12 steps would help me quit drinking. Right? God this, God that, you know, defects of characters, shortcomings, amends, you know, those 12 steps had nothing to do with my drinking as I read them off the wall at the beginning. Okay. Right?
I want to make a parenthesis and then we will continue talking about the third and the fourth, etc. Okay? This parenthesis is about to ask you about the things you were telling me that an alcoholic has in their mind this obsession of drinking.
Yes.
And you must quit drinking 100%. I mean radical abstinence, because otherwise if you give you a chance of drink just a bit, that just a bit can become again a lot. So tell me more about that.
Okay, what it is the allergy, right? When you're allergic to milk and you drink milk, you're going to sit on the toilet and get the runs. If you're allergic to, let's say, strawberries, you're going to break out in hives and scratch because you ate strawberries. If you're allergic to shrimp, right, or seafood, you know, your throat's going to swell up and you can't breathe. The manifestation of alcohol to an alcoholic is a craving of more of the same. So if I have just a little bit of alcohol, it produces a little craving of more of the same. So if I say to my wife, I'm just going to go for one with the boys, I think that that's true in my mind, and I go for one, and then it produces a little craving. That's not bad. So I have the second one, it produces a bigger craving, and I have 3, and then it produces a bigger craving, and then I'm not going home for supper because it produces a craving beyond my mental control. And it's just like someone who hasn't eaten for 30 days and they come out of the jungle and they see me sitting here with a bunch of food. And I just say, don't think about it. Just put it out of your mind. And I just eat in front of them. You know, they're just going to be focused on that food. Their mind's automatically going to be obsessed with that food. And nothing's going to take that idea of food out of their mind. Because the mind's pretty powerful. And that's what it's like for an alcoholic once he starts drinking. So how the program says is that, you know, if we have a drink, it produces a craving beyond our mental control. The problem is with our thinking before we have that drink, that takes us to the first drink. So because my life is so unmanageable, I'm irritable, restless, and discontent. My wife's leaving me, I lost my job, my kids don't want to talk to me, and I just want that temporary relief. So my mind automatically goes to what used to give me temporary relief. So I'll just sit there and look at that idea of having just one drink, just like you coming out of the jungle after not eating for 30 days and looking at all that food. Well, can you just give me one sandwich? Right? To ease your mind, right? To ease your mind, right? So I'm sitting there and the thought is just going through my head. You need a drink. You need a drink. I'm irritable. My life is falling apart. If only I had a drink, everything would be okay, right? And that's what happens. And I go to bed and I fall asleep and I wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and this friggin' boss of mine and this friggin' wife of mine and these friggin' kids of mine, and if only I had a drink, right? And then I'm going to be going bankrupt there. I'm losing my house, my car, they repossessed my car, you know, my wife's going to find out about my mistress, right? You know, it's just one thing after another. And if I could push something out of my mind, something else will come in, because 20 years of drinking, I've created a problem, right, in my life, right? It's become unmanageable. So this design or this program or the 12-step program takes me through my life and clears up the wreckage of my past so I could wash my mind of those thoughts.
Got it. I want to ask you about, I was thinking in an important question. Let me remember. You must be radical in your decision of quit. Yes, I have the question. It's important one. One time I hear, I think Oprah. I love to hear a podcast from Oprah, no? and I think she invites someone that was alcoholic, no? And he says, or maybe Oprah says that alcohol for alcoholics is their therapy.
Is there what?
Their therapist. I mean, alcohol is kind of having a therapist.
A therapist.
A psychologist. Because they don't want to go to the therapist. So they have this thing that make them feel relief, that you said. So
yes.
The question is this, because it was important question. What are your new habits? Because, I mean, this crazy mind that you explained to us is the same mind that I have. And I create habits in order to manage my mind so I cannot go into addiction. Maybe I don't have this addiction of alcohol, but maybe I have another addiction of Netflix or social media or a lot of sugar. There is a lot of addictions in the world. So it's the same but a different addiction, no? So let me ask you, what are your new habits that make you feel relief? So you replace the new habits. I mean, you replace the alcohol for the new habits, I'm sure. So This is the question. What are the new habits that you have, including this, I'm sure, that makes you feel relief?
I have alcoholic thinking. And basically what it is a critic right here.
A critic?
A critic.
Critic.
Telling me everything that's wrong with my life. Oh, you don't need to listen to him. You know, she doesn't know what she's talking about, right? So if I fill my mind with negative stuff, I'm going to have a negative life.
Yeah, of course.
If I fill my mind with good stuff, I'm going to have a good life.
Of course.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reprogram my mind.
Yes.
And I'm going to try, and it's hard, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like flipping the light switch, right? Right? So first thing in the morning when I get up, and it's a lot easier today than it was at the beginning, because I wake up with a pretty positive thoughts today, right? Because of 13 years
Clean.
but this book is 14 years old. This book is 14 years old. Like, you know, it's 14 years old. And in the beginning, I had to replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. So I'd come over here and I'd read something positive.
Got it.
To remind me to get on the right road instead of the wrong road. The right road to positivity, positive thinking instead of the wrong road to negative thinking.
I love it. I love it.
So then I went to AA meetings.
Yes.
At the beginning, lots.
Yes.
Because I had the support of the fellowship.
I know.
For when I had that negative thinking and I wanted a drink.
Yes.
They would change my thinking from life sucks and give me hope through their experiences.
I got it.
Right? You know, and then I would maybe say, you know, maybe I can get through this, right?
They give you inspiration.
Inspiration. There's speaker tapes that I used to plug in the headphones and walk down the street just to listen. I used to go to work and pass all the places that I used to pull off the road and use drugs. And in recovery, being new to recovery, it was hard. And those thoughts would enter my mind and the obsession would start twirling around, and I'd plug in a speaker tape, someone talking inspiration, which would change my thinking.
I got it.
Right?
You go to the roots. When you were telling me about reprogramming the mind, you are going to the root of the problem. Because the root of the problem is the thinking.
Yes,
the bad habit of alcohol or whatever the bad habit is just an effect. But the cause is the thinking, the mindset.
Well, I had a learning disability growing up. And all my brothers were smarter than me. They went through school, no problem. I had a memory problem. I probably, back then there was no testing. I probably have, you know, ADHD or something like that. But I couldn't remember things. Okay. So you're not trying hard enough, Myles. You're not good enough, Myles. You know, you are not
good as your brother.
Yeah. But I ended up quitting school and leaving home. And I moved to the other side of the country to get away from my family, right? And of course, getting my first paychecks, having a unmanageable life, I started buying alcohol and started medicating the critic, right? Started medicating, so I get that ease and comfort. I'd get that, now I could finally rest where I'm not thinking. It's like, you know, I could calm the mind down, right?
You say medicine, and I remember that in the podcast of Oprah, they said alcohol is like a medicine. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a solution to my problem of thinking. So going through school, I wasn't good enough. Going through life, I started drinking, and my life started getting miserable, and I lost hope. You know, I became homeless.
Really?
I was homeless for about 7 years.
Really?
Yeah. Homeless. I came out, I was at 49. I was homeless.
Wow.
13 years later, I'm in Puerto Vallarta due to me.
Let me show the sunset. So they can see. Woo! Look. Yes, we are here. I don't know what I did, but anyway.
But yeah, so anyways, it's a design. Those steps are a design to start getting my life on track.
Got it.
And I need the support of other recovering alcoholics, because when I tell you about the obsession, you can't relate to that because you never obsessed alcohol. When I talk to my dad about my problem, he'd say, just put it out of your mind. Just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just go to bed. And that's what he was able to do.
For everyone, it's easy.
They don't understand what I'm going through, right?
Got it.
It's just like the person that comes out of the jungle after 30 days and telling him to put the idea of food out of your mind. You're too big. You need to lose some weight, right? You know, no one's going to understand how that guy feels or what he's going through unless they go into the jungle for 30 days and don't eat.
Of course.
Right? You know, so, you know, it's a hard, and these people that you surround with, I could talk to them and they could say, yeah, that happens to me too. Yes, I understand. And that's why they say one alcoholic helping another alcoholic.
That's why the meetings of the 12 steps is work, because you feel empathy with them.
Yes, and they don't judge me for my learning disability. They don't judge me because I'm homeless. They don't turn my nose up at me. They want to help me. They welcome me.
Nice.
Because they do know where I'm.
And you know something, I have a bad judgment about these groups, because what I don't like is when they start saying, hello, my name is blah, 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 and I'm alcoholic. And that is a reprogramming, no? And I think it's not a good programming that you confirm every time you go to this forum, that you say, I am alcoholic, I am alcoholic, I am alcoholic. You're decreasing that, and I think it's not a good decrease.
That's not the first time I heard that, but in the book, it starts out with, we're more than 100 men and women who have recovered from a seamlessly hopeless state of mind, the obsession, and body, the craving. Right, so a lot of people come into the groups and say they're an alcoholic because that's what everyone says when they started learning, right? But all they're doing is trying to be there. The people that are there for a long time is so the newcomer can relate and feel safe. But you're right? I should be going into the meetings and saying I'm a recovered alcoholic.
I would love to hear someone that says that at the start.
And there's a lot of people in the meetings that do say that.
I think it's more inspirational to say that, because you have been clean for around 15 years?
13 years.
13 years?
13 and a half
for
years,
me, if I am alcoholic and I go to a meeting and I hear someone, I have been clean for 13 years, I will be more like my ears more open than from a person, I am alcoholic. I don't want to hear another one.
But the thing is also, there's another way of looking at it too. I'm a recovered alcoholic, but I'm only one drink away from a drunk.
I know.
And that's the same as the newcomer coming in there. It's just like the guy that's allergic to shrimp.
I know.
I got an allergy to shrimp, or I got an allergy to alcohol. A person that has an allergy to alcohol is an alcoholic.
I know.
Right?
I know. You're one cup from being an alcoholic again.
Yeah, because if I have a drink. So 13 years clean and sober, I'm sleeping last night, all night long I'm dreaming about crack cocaine. 13 years later, right? That's how powerful the obsession is. That's how powerful the mind is. Whenever I have an emotional problem, it's going to go to the back of my mind, and I think they call it the primitive part of your mind, and they're going to send messages. I know what fixed you last time from your emotional problem. Right? So, but I woke up and I wasn't obsessing. It's like dreaming about root beer now.
You can just do your habits and ignore that voice now.
But I still dreamt about it. I can ignore it.
Yes.
I go down to the Melicon and I walk by. Everyone's wanting me to buy cocaine, weed, pipes, free tequila. And I'm free to go anywhere today because I work the program, and the obsession to drink, take that first one, has been removed from me. But if I say, or if I get too cocky and say, maybe I'll just have one, and I have that one, I'm still an alcoholic, I'm still allergic to it, it's still going to produce a craving beyond my mental control, and I won't be able to stop.
Oof. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I know that you walk a lot. You show me in your cellular phone that you have this record of days that you have been walking like more than 10 kilometers or 5 kilometers per day.
This month I've walked 172.5 kilometers.
How many?
172.5 kilometers.
In 1 month?
From the 1st to the 12th.
Really?
Yeah, today's my first break.
Oh, that's more than 10 kilometers per day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to Monkey Mountain the other day. I went to Boca the other day. Yesterday, I walk to my meeting every morning up by the...
You go to a meeting here?
Oh yeah, every day, man. If not...
Wow.
Yeah, twice a day.
Wow. So, your habits, reprogramming.
5 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. 5:30, I'm up in the morning.
Okay.
Do my readings. I write a 2-way prayer. I send it to my accountability partner.
Cool.
I take a shower.
Cool.
I go to my meeting.
Cool.
And I figure out what I'm doing from there.
The other thing, walking.
Yeah, walking.
Reprogramming at your meetings, of course. What else? What else are in your new habits?
I take my grandson to school.
Cool.
I go have coffee with when I'm at home, back home, my daughter will get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we'll meet at 4:30 in the morning in the river valley, and we'll go for a walk, take the dog for a walk.
At 4 a.m.?
4 o'clock we get up in the morning, we walk at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
We go home. She gets the kids ready for school. I go home and I have a coffee and do my readings, and then I'll drive over there and take my grandson to school. And then I'll do whatever, right? I'll go to my partner's house. She lives in a different city, about 40 minutes away from me. I'll spend time with her, and yeah, it's all cool, man. Life's good. Life's a blessing. Mm-hmm. You know, I get down on myself today. Oh, I got nothing to do. I'm bored. I got to realize or remind the critic that I'm 13 years clean and sober. I retired after 13 years of being from homelessness to be retired in 13 years. You know, I'm in Puerto Vallarta. My children want me around today. You know,
they love you. They love you. I mean,
most of them.
I mean,
not all of them.
But I think I know persons that when they recover are more attractive to the relatives to go back again to engage the relationship again, instead of having an alcoholic problem and I don't want to see my dad because he's an alcoholic. No, I think it's more easy to get together with that.
But there's people that are out there that are toxic because without a drinking or drugging problem.
I know.
And I was that person. And as I said, my unmanageable life, the drinking was my temporary solution for that. So I'm blessed. Today, when I first came into the program, I thought, why me? Why me? Today, I'm grateful that it was me because it taught me to come into some place and ask for help. And they guided me to a design of living where I could become an active member of society, right? Right? I would never have learned that. And I know a lot of people that can drink and they could socialize with drugs and they don't have an addiction problem, but their lives are a mess.
I know. There are different kind of alcoholics. Mine alcoholic. I mean, I understand what you mean. Maybe it's not an alcoholic person, but it's a toxic person. It's a bad person and
dry drunk.
And yes.
And that's what they say when you give up the booze. Like, you know, an alcoholic who gives up the booze, who doesn't treat the main problem, the manageable life, gets angry, gets resentful. You know, he's toxic. And this is what the program teaches you, how to live, so you're responding in a positive way instead of reacting in a negative way.
Cool.
Right? You're accepting other people instead of control other people to what you think they should do. And you're changing yourself. That serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change. You, my children, my boss, my wife, the courage to change the people I can. How I respond to all that. Me, right?
Ooh.
Get rid of my selfishness and, start doing selfless things, Get rid of my dishonesty and start being honest, right?
And wisdom to recognize the difference.
The biggest part, right? The wisdom to know the difference, right? All my life I was trying to change all the things I should have been accepting and accepting all the things I should have been changing, right?
Okay, let's go back and continue about the third, the fourth, the fifth, whatever steps, no? Because you give us only two. Please talk about the third step.
Okay, so when I came to believe a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity, I didn't have a God. I knew of God. I could think of God, but I couldn't feel God. So I had to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. And what I did was I turned my will and my life over to the care of these steps. I made a decision to let these steps guide me in life.
Got it.
And then in step 4, we take a moral inventory of ourselves. We do a fearless moral inventory of ourselves, or a fact-finding, fact-facing inventory of ourselves, right? So this is where we go, all the people I resent, and we take our part in it, right? We stop blaming other people for our problems. We start seeing where we made the mistakes in life, right? Like my brother, he did a few things to me, but what I forgot was that he lent me some money and I promised to pay him back, and I didn't, right? So, or the mother of my children, she slept with another man, right? While I was looking for her, looking after our kids. But what I forgot was, I was unfaithful to her, right? I was always going out drinking after work, right?
That is the inventory. To be honest with you, with total honesty.
To thy own self, be true, right? And like as I said, I had a learning problem, right? And a lot of people, like I have to understand things, but I got sober because I was able to be honest, right? I was able to be honest and say, it wasn't my wife's fault that I slept with my best friend. It was my fault because I never came home for months and months on end, and I was spending the paycheck. She couldn't buy diapers. She was lonely. No wonder she went and slept with my best friend, and like I used to be a supervisor at work, and then it became that, I became a foreman at work I'd just be on the tools, to where I couldn't even hold a job, to these people that used to be apprentices were now my boss and I'm on the bottom end of the ladder, right? It's my own fault. It's not their fault. It's my fault, right?
This is one of the most difficult steps, no? To be honest with you.
It is. So through that, I find out that I was a selfish person. I was a dishonest person. I was inconsiderate. I was greedy, right? And like steps 6, we become willing to change. We become willing to remove these defects of character, right? So if I'm not willing, I pray for the willingness, because some things are hard. Right? One thing for an alcoholic, when they go out, they like to womanize.
Womanize? What is womanize? I have heard
be with her woman, be with that woman, be with that woman, be with that woman.
That is womanize. Okay.
Womanize,
I got it.
So that's wrong. It's caused a lot of problems, but sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes some things you don't want to get rid of, right? So you pray for the willingness. Right? So then steps 7, we become entirely ready to have God remove these shortcomings.
Oh.
And we don't remove them. We don't change them. We just ask God to remove them. Take them away, root and branch.
That's part of the praying. You said you write your praying. That's part of the 7th step to write that.
No, that's not. That's my 11th step. That's my 11th step, right? But I ask God to remove these things from me, right? And if He's going to remove the dishonesty, I got to replace that, and I replace it with honesty.
Okay.
If He's going to remove the selfishness, I got to replace that, because it's like a vacuum, right? Something's got to replace it. So I got to practice selfless stuff, right? And if I'm inconsiderate, if I don't want to, I'm inconsiderate to my wife, I got to, start being considerate to her, right? And we practice the opposite, and slowly we get better at it, and it gets easier over the years, right?
Wow.
So steps 8, we become ready to make amends to these people we have harmed.
Wow.
Right? And then
to make comments?
Amends. I'm sorry.
I got it.
So this ex-partner of mine, the mother of my children, right? That I blamed her for years. I'd get up at 3:00 in the morning and she's floating around my head.
Did you say the bad words?
Yeah. Don't say any bad words. No. Okay. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, that's one of my character defects.
Cool. and
I work at that.
And I love what you said about replacing the bad habits or the bad habits with new habits. You are dishonest, honesty.
Yeah.
If you are angry, let's try to be the opposite. Forgiving.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And there's some pretty hurtful things that happen over the years to people out there, and it's hard to forgive. But that forgiveness is a gift to you, not a gift to them.
I know.
Right? And it goes on, right? So, and then you make your amends to them, these people, right? In step 9. And then in step 10, because life goes on, we continue to take personal inventory, which is step 4. And when we're wrong, we promptly admit it. So we do this. So once we clean up the wreckage of our past through steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in order for our lives not to get unmanageable again, we continue, right? So we continue to take personal inventory. When we're wrong, promptly admit it, right? So it's like, for example, you came in here with the chair and you got sand all over the floor, right? You promptly looked after the deal. You swept up the sand, you got rid of it instead of leaving it, right? And
to fix the error.
What's that?
To fix the error.
To fix the error, yeah. To fix the error, right? So things don't pile up and become astonishingly hard to solve, and you're getting overwhelmed again. And this guy this, and this guy
maintenance. The 10 step is like maintenance.
Maintenance. Yeah, maintenance. And then, so when I first came in here, my higher power was the steps. As a result of my life getting better, and me praying, and my prayers getting answered.
Cool.
That just gave me goosebumps. Things started happening in my life. My ideas about God started changing, and I knew there was a God, but I couldn't feel this God. So I started searching. And last year, while I was in Puerto Vallarta, this lady helped me, and I found Jesus, and I got baptized here in Puerto Vallarta.
Really?
And I started practicing Jesus Christ as my Savior.
Cool.
And
and now you feel it.
Now I feel it.
Cool.
And that's that Holy Spirit, those goosebumps that gave me, right?
Cool.
But
cool.
Yeah, so through step 11 is through prayer and meditation, we improve our conscious contact with God. Right? So anyways, for 13 years or 12 years, I was praying to God. Yes. I'd get up and I'd pray, I'd search Him. I knew there was something missing in my life, and as soon as I was done praying, I'd leave. I'd go to work. I'd go visit my kids. I'd do something. So I was talking to God, but I wasn't listening to God. Right? So this conscious contact is we want to hear God. We want to ask God, pray for things. He wants to help us, but he also wants us to listen. So I've been practicing this two-way prayer where I get up every morning and I write down, "Good morning, Father. Thank you for another night's rest." And then if I have a problem or I want to show some gratitude, I say thank you, or I have this problem. And then I sit there and I listen and I grab my pen and I answer the prayer. Because if God dwells in me and I have a conscious contact with him, he's going to answer me. So I'll go, "My dear son, Myles."
Wow.
Right? And I'll listen to the answer. So it's a two-way system. I ask God, I listen to God.
Cool.
So this is helping me have a relationship and form a relationship with my higher power. And there's a workshop on YouTube, two-way prayer. And last year when I was in Puerto Vallarta, me and my partner then, we listened to it, and we started doing it, and I've been doing it since March 23rd of last year, and I'm on something like 285 days in a row of doing it. And they said, if you miss a day, start at one again.
What is the name of the program?
It's a two-way prayer. Two-way prayer workshop, yeah.
You send me the link through WhatsApp, and I will put it in the description of this video.
Yeah. So anyways, and then...
You were in the 10. Now tell me about the 11 and 12.
11 was the through prayer and meditation.
Got it.
Right? So we're at 12 now.
I got it.
So step 12 is having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, which the definition of a spiritual awakening as defined in the big book is a personality change sufficient enough to bring upon recovery. Meaning I'm gone from an irritable, restless, discontent person to a happy, joyous, and free person.
Oh.
Right?
Happy,
joyous, and free.
Wow.
So I'm free to walk downtown past all these tequila shops. I'm free to go, out on a party boat, right? Without the idea of drinking, right? Without, me white knuckling it, wanting a drink, right? Right? It's gone from a personality where I used to react and instead of respond in a positive manner, right?
Cool.
Right? I'm waking up and I'm looking at the good things in my life instead of the bad things in my life, right?
Cool.
I'm not judging other people. I'm trying to help them, right? But as a result of these steps, as a result of having had a spiritual awakening or a personality change sufficient enough to bring upon recovery, we try to carry this message, and we do this in a meeting.
Got it.
And we try to be of service, right?
Yeah.
And to practice this program in all our affairs.
Let me ask you about giving service, because you have been working in this program for 13 years, and you say that you have an accountant. You say a good father. How do you say it?
A what?
Accountant. In Mexico, we say padrino. Padrino is the person that help you in
a sponsor.
A sponsor.
Yeah.
So you are a sponsor now, or you?
I have sponsees.
Cool.
Yeah, I have sponsees. Yes. Cool. Some of them are doing good. Some of them are not doing good. When I sobered up, I was in Fort McMurray, and there was a detox there. And I was given an opportunity to live there for a year. They asked me if I would like to come and live there to be part of their program for people coming out of treatment who always go back downtown homeless and they have nowhere to go and they end up drinking again, right? So they gave me a safe bed, a safe place to live, and they fed me. They gave me a roof over my head. And they allowed me to be there for a year, and I was there for a year, and then it was time to go, and they said, you don't have to leave. And they allowed me to stay there for another 8 months. So I was there for 8 months. But during that time, they have all these people coming into the detox center, and I was able to help those people out. I was able to be a good example.
Cool.
I was able to be there while these people came in and out, and over the period of a couple of years, they saw a change in me that drew their interest, and you know, a lot of those people thought that, you know, I would like what he has, right?
No.
And it gives them hope,
I know.
right? It gives them hope to do, you know, and it gives them maybe, you know, a little bit of trust and faith in the program, right?
Mm-hmm. You know, when I expose myself and I show my vulnerability, is when people thank me.
Oh yeah.
Because when I show my mask and I say the good things in my life, etc., it's okay. It's a good video, but I have to be honest with my followers, and when I'm honest with my followers, telling my vulnerability, and those are the times when I connect more with my followers and with my group of therapy. So I understand perfectly that you help a lot of people, showing you as you are now, without any mask. Just be honest.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to sound a little selfish, but you know, I help those people out because it helps me.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Right.
You know, I can't keep what I have unless I give it away.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you know, what God gave me so freely, when I pray for knowledge of His will for me, He wants me to be a helpful, useful member of society, right? He wants me to not just thank you and put it in my pocket and say, see you later. It's been great. Bye. He wants me to actually use those tools that He gave me and go out there and be helpful. Mm-hmm. Every tool, every act of love, every act of kindness that I do out there, it gives God one more tool to build a good life for me, right? And He's done a wonderful job since I started showing a little bit of effort. But you know, for 20 years, I prayed, you know, God help me, and said the Serenity Prayer, and then turned on the TV and nothing happened.
Now, what is the difference between those days?
Now I do some work. Now I actually work the steps. It says right there, if you want what we have to offer and are willing to make the effort to get it, here are the steps we have taken. I wanted the results without working the steps, and nothing happened.
And that tip that you have just tell us is a tip that works for everything. I mean, for everything.
Yes.
Let's suppose that you practice a meditation, and in the meditation, the teacher tells you how to meditate. But instead of doing what your teacher says, you decide to do it or not do it, or do it in your way. But that doesn't work. So. See, I understand what you mean. Yeah. If you want the 12 steps to work, you have to do the 12 steps just the way they teach you.
Well, it gives me a way of living, and having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we carry this message, and to practice these principles or practice these steps in all our affairs. So I have a son that wants nothing to do with me. So I start with step 1. I am powerless over my son, and as a result, my life has become unmanageable. Came to believe that a power greater than myself will restore me to sanity. See the truth. And the truth is, I can't tell my son what to do and what not to do. Right? I can't make him love me anymore. I've caused a lot of damage. Right? I abandoned my son. There's a lot of pain there, but I can't change that pain. Right? All I could do is keep trying and trying and trying and be there, and then made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. God, look after my son because I can't, and I'll leave the results to God, right? Do a moral inventory. Admit the truth. I abandoned him. I wasn't there for him. I was in my addiction. I couldn't help myself, let alone my family, right? So become, talk to God, another person, and myself, and admit I'm at fault, right? And then become willing to change, have these defects of character removed. I'm willing. Humbly ask God to remove them. I've asked, made a list of people we have harmed. I made my amends to my son. I gave him a 20-page letter. Mm-hmm. And then
you send it to him, or you just
I hand dropped it off to him.
I got it.
Right? So he got it. Whether he read it or not, I don't know.
Okay.
Right? But then I've done my part.
I got it.
I've done my part. That's all I can do. That's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I can't change.
Wow.
The courage to change the things I can, how I respond, how I act.
You know what? You know why I am saying wow? Because the 12 steps can be applied in a therapeutic way. I mean, for any kind of problem. I mean,
it's a design for living.
See?
That big book will solve every single problem that I have. Whenever I run into a problem, I go to the big book and I use those 12 steps to guide me through it. And it fixes it up.
I'm going to go deeper into the 12 steps because you just give me an introduction. I mean, if I want to apply it in my problems, I will keep reading. Do you have any kind of book that you suggest us to read about the 12 steps?
The 12 steps, if you want to look into the 12 steps and have it explained in a really good, thorough way, I would suggest the Joe and Charlie. Joe and Charlie.
I got it.
12-step workshop.
Okay, Joe and Charlie.
And I could tell you, I could show you that they're all in workshops. But if you go on the internet, they could give you this part before this part or this part. But I could lay it out in the right order, right?
It's a book.
It's a workshop, but it guides you through the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
I love workshops. I mean, workshops for me is better than books.
Yeah, but it's a workshop, and they explain the addiction, they explain the obsession, they explain the craving, they explain
how many. I'm not sure you have this information, but anyway, I'm going to ask you, how many millions of thousands of persons do you think have helped these 12 steps? Millions.
It's in 180 countries, Alcoholics Anonymous. It started with 2 guys. I was just at the one guy's house there before I came here.
They are alive?
In Akron, Ohio. I was just there.
They passed away.
They passed away, yeah. Bill W. and Dr. Bob. And there's a movie out, My Name is Bill W., that explains the whole beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Is in YouTube, or you have to buy it?
Yeah, you probably got it on Prime or...
What is the name of the movie?
My Name is Bill W.
My Name is B.W.
Bill W., yeah.
So I have Joe and Charlie, the 12 steps. My name is B.W.
Bill W.,
And I ask you in the beginning that you're going to send me through WhatsApp. I don't remember. I will remember later.
Okay.
Those 3 things, I'm going to put it in the description.
Okay.
Thank you, Myles. You're an inspiration for me, not only for alcoholics, because as I told you, I am alcoholic, but not of alcohol. I'm addicted to relationships. I'm addicted to sugar. I'm addicted to Netflix, to social media, to the approval. So I'm addicted of a lot of things. So I'm going to start reading about the 12 steps, and I'm going to apply them, because I'm a searcher. I love to search to find tools to help me, as you said, to help me and to help others. So I'm going to start reading more about these things, and I'm going to start watching the movie because I love to watch movies. So I'm going to start with the I am Bill W. I'm going to start with that. And if you have more things to add in the description, let me know.
Okay, man.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.